I am Ryan from LostInReviews.com, and I am here with Austin, the director of Girls Against Boys and SXSW. So, Girls Against Boys, you really started thrashing it out and getting straight into the gore. Kind of a departure from SXSW, but still has the same feel of the way you write women. So, how did you go about starting and getting the idea for Girls Against Boys?
Well, like you said, it treads in some of the same territory as my previous film, and it actually. There's another movie that I want to make at some point that I see as the third part of what I see as a trilogy of Battle of the Sexes films.
I could see that kind of in the vein of Three Colors in the same way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean they're all very different movies, Three Colors.
Right.
But they deal with some they make sense as a whole.
Right.
And the third one, which I don't think will be my next film, but I hope to make at some point. Again, deals with the sort of complicated nature of the relationships that men and women have, but in a very, very, very different sort of way.
Yeah, I love the way most people, they take a look at a relationship and they don't focus on the dirty parts of it. I feel like you do, especially in XXXY. Those people are out to hurt each other. And not until the very end not even really that they realize that they want each other, just that they're not happy with where they are, in a way. And then I feel the exact same way about Girls Against Boys, a woman who's had a tragedy happen to her and wants to make drastic changes to the way people see the world.
Yeah, in some ways I see Girls Against Boys as a coming-of-age story.
Yeah.
It's about the sort of journey of this young woman as she comes to realize that things aren't what she thought they were.
And Nicole does that well. The way, you can see the change in her face when she becomes like a killer. When she kills the rapist, when she blows his freaking head off in the middle of, the factory. And just, you can see the change. I'm not this little neat little nice girl. I'm a killer now.
Yeah, it's a sort of an evolution.
Yeah, totally. So, what was the inspiration for this one?
There wasn't a single source necessarily. I mean, there were a number of issues that interested me that I wanted to explore. There's a long history of female revenge movies, rape revenge movies, I guess. Yeah. But what I wanted to try to do with this was sort of take those, the exploitation side of it and try to use it differently, sort of challenge the audience to question where the exploitation ends and the empowerment begins.
Right, yeah. Were you ever worried? Most people will attack a film like this, like Kill Bill, attacking kind of Uma Thurman for being this killer. And, does that really empower women? I feel like it does. I feel like, little girls, well, not necessarily little girls, but women want to see, a woman in a series of powerful situations. And you do that so well in this film.
Thank you.
I also feel like this is a very New York film, and it gave me a kind of a no wave kind of feel. And we were talking to the actors, and they were telling me you went out and stole shots and snuck into the aquarium and stuff like that.
I love shooting that way. I mean, I just feel like, especially now, technology is changing so much. It's possible to just take a camera and go out and shoot, and it's I think there's something really exciting about working that way on the streets of New York. Just small crew, couple of actors, camera, sound, and just go shoot. There's something I think is really invigorating about that.
Yeah, it reminds me of that, that time in the 80s when everybody was just shooting just to shoot, just to make movies, just wild stuff, anything they could imagine. And Girls Against Boys really reminded me of that, just those exploitation films and just graphic violence and sex, and it was just raw. And it feels so good, man. It feels so good to see a film like that. So, how did you feel the screening at the Draft House went last night?
I thought it went well. The audience seemed great.
Yeah.
I've never been here before, and I didn't know what to expect. I got to say, I was a little bit nervous about the idea of food and beer being served during the movie.
They do it so well.
They do it really well, and people seemed to be having fun.
Yeah. You get a couple beers in somebody, and you put on a film like that, and it's just full on ready to go.
Uh-huh.
It reminded me, and I don't want to like spoil it, but it did. It reminded me a lot of American Psycho, just like from the female perspective.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Somebody recently said that it's like Alice in Wonderland meets American Psycho.
that's perfect. That is a perfect way to describe this. But so, how are we going to move from here? Because I see the transition from XXXY to Girls Against Boys. Where are we going to go from now? What's the third kind of film going to be like?
Well, the third film in the trilogy, do you mean? There's a movie that I wrote. It's about the relationship between a young woman and a much, much older man. I mean, I guess you could say it's a midlife crisis film for this. I mean, midlife crisis story for this guy. It's about a guy who's always been a bit of a playboy, who realizes sort of too late in life that he's missed out on something by not ever having a serious relationship, and tries at the 11th hour to change that, and it doesn't go well for him. He's not. But I don't think that's going to be my next movie. There's another thing that I'm working on that is a psychological thriller about a American couple abroad that
cool.
I'm hoping will be the next thing that I shoot.
Are you writing it?
Yeah.
That's exciting, because that's what I felt was so good about this film is it's all you, just like XXX or XXXY was. It has your signature feel. And I love the way you write women. How do you go about creating a female character as a male?
I don't know, I find women fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, I find them a lot more interesting than men.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, so just based on that.
I mean, I don't know that I sit down and think about the difference. I mean, I just maybe I write them like men. I don't know. I just sort of try to write people that I think are interesting and complicated.
Do you base any of these people off of people in real life?
These characters are not based on any specific
Well, I would
people.
hope not.
No.
I love the moment when she comes out and she throws out that horrible past, she's been raped and all of that, and then it's just a joke. Because it seems like that's for like a serial killer type of movie, a killer, somebody with no soul that just has no problems with doing that. It's always the go-to reason to why I'm doing this. I love that in this film, it's just because you can. So what made you go that route? Rather than creating some psychological...
complicated backstory that explains it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel people aren't that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there are obvious reasons, but I don't think the obvious reasons are ever as simple as they seem to be.
Right. Because, I mean, we're always looking for the reason. We're always digging. We have to, the killers that go to schools, and we're still digging to figure out why these kids did it. Sometimes it just happens. People just snap.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed the movie. I loved it a lot. I can't wait for the third in the trilogy, and I can't wait for your next film.
Thank you.
I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for doing the interview, man.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.